In the States, you can say to someone like, hey, how's it going? Like you don't know. It's totally fine. But in France, if you say to them like in French, hey, how are you? If you don't know the person, they're like, why? Why do you want to know? Why is that your business, you know? But you can say like bonjour, like you can be like, oh hey. But if you ask them specifically how are you, it's really weird for them. So don't do that. Like if you're like, bonjour, comment ça va? It's weird. Like if you yawn in public, you're supposed to cover your mouth. Like if you don't, it's really offensive. There's certain French phrases that, like as an American, when you translate it to French, like you'll translate it directly. It doesn't work. Okay, for example, like one that was rude that I would say, so you can say je sais in French, and it means I know. And there's je sais, which is I try. So je sais. And so people would say to me, oh, like you speak French really, really well. And I would say, oh, je sais. Like trying to say I try, but it would come off as I know. And they'd be like, okay, American over here. Oh yeah, like your hands, when you eat, you're supposed to keep them both on the table. And you have a fork in one hand and a knife in the other, you're supposed to use both. Put your hands under the table, it's super rude. So in the west of France, there's a place called Bretagne. And everybody knows what crepes are, right? In Bretagne, they make these things called galettes. It's a different flour they use to make crepes, and it's more like a dinner crepe than a dessert crepe or sugary crepe. In Bretagne, if you call a galette a crepe, people will get offended. They're like, it's not a crepe, it's a galette. People think that like, we call them French fries. French fries actually don't come from France, they come from Belgium. It's like, I don't know how we started calling them French fries, but fries in Belgium are just so good. Raclette, #1. My all-time favorite meal. It's so funny because when you explain it, it doesn't sound very good, but when you eat it, it's incroyable. Basically, it's like a machine, kind of like a grill. There's like one layer, and then there's another like pan on top. So how this works is they have these little mini pans, and you put it in the bottom part, like that first layer, and you put cheese in it, and it melts the cheese. And then on top, you can put like meat or vegetables, like ham or bacon or whatever. And then on the side, they have baked or like boiled potatoes. And so what you do is you take the potato on your plate, cut it up, and then however you want to put it on is fine, but basically you just mix the vegetables, the meat, and the cheese all in it, and it is so good. Another super good dish, yeah, tartiflette, that's way good. It's basically like in a quiche pan, and that's just got like sour cream, and then potatoes, and bacon, and then there's a special cheese called tartiflette cheese they put across the top. That's super good as well. Just potatoes and cheese, like that's my favorite part. I actually started off in Paris, and they're known for speaking really fast in French. Namur is the city that is known in Belgium for being the slowest speaking French city in Belgium. And so like they have like this big snail statue in there like to like represent, okay, we speak slow. Some people would say that the Belgian people are nicer than French people. I think it's pretty much the same. I will like, maybe if they were nicer, maybe a little bit in Belgium, but I mean, I didn't notice a huge difference. The French it's still French, but there's a little bit of a different accent, and it's not enough to where you can't understand them, or they use different words sometimes. I'll be honest, I loved Belgium. Like, it was so awesome. Like, the city that I was in was also, so again, from Paris to Namur, it's super tiny. I remember when we would walk around on the streets, like, I think within a week, like, I had the place memorized. Like, it was that small. The downtown or whatever, there's a lot of bars, so that was always funny, just seeing people like at night and stuff. There's this place called Chez Gabi in Namur. So they make kebabs and mitraillettes and then like the fries. I feel like I saw more cars in Belgium than I did in France and Paris. Yeah, I'd probably say the biggest difference is like the way they speak, and they're just like, I feel like they're just bigger in Belgium. Like they're just kind of maybe fatter. I guess you could say that, but they're just bigger human beings, and because they eat, like I said, like more meat, they eat more sugary stuff. So in Belgium, I think it was mostly Catholics, and then you have a lot of Muslims, at least where I was. There was a good amount of Muslims there. Family's important in Belgium. I feel like I actually saw more families, younger families, in Belgium than I did in France. Yeah, the way they count in Belgium, it's like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. In French, it's like translated directly to say 70 in French is 60, 10. But then in Belgium, it actually makes more sense. Like the way they say it, it sounds like, so 70, that's 60, 10. In Belgium, it's 7, just like 7, and then the next number. And then 90 in France is like 80, so it's 4, 20, 10. That's how they say it in French, directly translated. And then Belgium is just basically like saying 90. Oh, and they also say à tantôt. They don't say that in France. Attends was like, see you later. Well, I love France, obviously, and the French people. But every stereotype that I've ever heard in my life was not true at all. Well, like, they're super rude. They hate Americans. You know, they're snobby, stuff like that. No, I was amazed. Like, I remember we'd be lost and like looking for something and like, hey, do you know where this place is? And the person was always just incredibly helpful. Like, oh yeah, like, and then if like we had a map, they like pull it out, like you can walk here and go over here. And then if they didn't know, they're like, oh, I don't know, but hold on, let me ask someone. And they would help. They would be really, really, really willing to help us out. The only thing I guess they don't like is when Americans come and they don't speak French and then they get mad at the French people for not speaking English. But yeah, like, no, they love it. Like, there's often times like, oh, you're from America? Can I take your spot while you're here? Like, and the people would wear like American scarves, American shirts and stuff. They do love cheese, so that was one true stereotype. And wine. And French pastry is about 10 times better than any American pastry I've ever had. Like, it's ridiculous. I had this little tradition I started where I would eat one pastry, different one every week, just so I could like experience different ones. They're all just, you will never go wrong. Like, you can't choose a pastry that's bad. I remember I'd have a pastry that was like super good, like my first or second week, and I was like, well, next week, like, what if it sucks? Like, maybe I'll just keep getting this one. But every single time, they were good. There's this one that I had. It's only in like April, May when they make it, and only certain cities make it. It's called a framboisine. And basically what it is, it's like a cake ring, and then inside they have strawberry and raspberry mousse with like little chunks of raspberry and grapes in it. And then it's got like a cracker top and a cracker bottom. And then the outside, strawberry or raspberry glaze over it. And so there's nothing like chocolate, but holy smokes, it's like so good. Another super good pastry is religieuse. It's basically like a little fat ball about the size of your fist. And then there's another little one on top, and they're cream filled, so you can get like vanilla or chocolate. And then they have like icing on around the sides. And those are really good too. And baguettes, of course. I had a problem. I would eat like 2 baguettes a day, and they're just so good. Coming home, it was hard for me because they don't have baguettes here, and if they do, they're not even close to as good as France. In Belgium, the food is pretty much the same, but the way they eat is they eat more meat, at least from what I noticed. So in France, they eat like super healthy, like they have a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruits, and then a little bit of meat. But then in Belgium, they're kind of more American with the kind of stuff they eat, like sausages, like beef. There's this thing up in Belgium called a mitraillette, means machine gun in French, and it's basically a baguette sandwich, and then it's just packed with meat, and then they put fries in it, and then they put sauce, and it's huge. It's like this big. And so, I mean, that kind of gives you an idea of like kind of stuff to eat. A kebab is sent from heaven. It's like a little sandwich. It's kind of like I think they call them heroes. It's like Greek. But they basically have like this machine. It's like on a pole, and they have meat on it. And it like turns, and then it's like a heater thing that keeps it warm. They shave off the meat, and they put it in this sandwich. They have those like tomatoes, lettuce, onions. And the meat, you got to get chicken. That's the best one, in my opinion. You can get beef, but I don't know what's in it. But the chicken one is safe as far as I know. Yeah, it's just basically like a hero, I guess. But I think it's more greasier. And then you have fries on the side. It's super good as well. A mitraillette is basically a kebab with fries in it and bigger. Cheese. Oh, I love the cheese. I remember at first my trainer, so he was finishing his mission when he trained me. So he already had like a good love for the cheese, and he understood like how to eat it. And I remember when I'd watch him eat it, he'd have a piece of bread like this big, and then like a piece of cheese like almost the same size. Like, and fat too on top, so there's more cheese than bread, and he would just eat it. But me, I had to have like this much cheese and like that much bread because I just didn't have the taste for it yet. But like now, I could just cut off the cheese and just eat it like that. Like, I don't know what makes it so good, but it's like an acquired taste, I guess. So for when you go, you know, in the future, start off with like Président or like a Brie type of cheese. Those are really like easy cheeses. They're not stinky or anything like that, and then you move your way up, and then you'll like it. France is known for taking like every holiday that they can get. Often there'd be, I feel like it was like at least once a month they had some sort of thing where nobody worked. And so Christmas, let's just take for example Christmas, for them, they focus more on the 24th than the 25th. Like here in America, like 25th is where you open all your presents, and like that's like the big day. But for them, it's the 24th, and the 25th is just like some people go back to work. It's just more like a relaxed day. It's not a big deal. They do New Year's Eve as well, and they just have just random things throughout the year. It's like, oh, this is like some king's birthday today, so then they take a day off. In summer, I can't remember how long it is, but I feel like they had a really long summer for like from like school and stuff. But at the same time, their school programs are a lot more strict, and it's better than America from what I saw. But yeah, they take their holidays very seriously in France and Belgium. Oh no, there's one in the summer. I can't remember what it is, but it's something. There's like they speak another language there. It's called Flamand, and it's like it's basically like a mix of like Dutch and French together. And it was just like, I think if I remember right, it was like when they like separated from France, or I can't remember what it was. That was a big deal, Belgian Day.